Hello, my name is Chloe. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my October TBR. I am very excited to share this TBR with you because I am doing the magical Hop-a-thon hosted by Rachel from Rachel Kerris. She is one of my booktube besties, so of course I had to fully participate and try to complete her readathon, which is 13 books. Not only do I have a lot of books on this TBR, most of them are outside of my comfort zone. So yeah, this should be interesting. I also wanted to spend this month kind of mopping up any books from TBRs that I hadn't gotten to yet through the summer where I was a little bit busy and my reading slowed down. So there were a couple of repeats in here that have been on previous TBRs. But this is the plan. Also, just to address it, I have been recovering from a cold and like flu, so I'm getting better, but I do sound a bit stuffy. But in not typical Chloe fashion, I have left this until it has to be filmed. So yeah, this is the voice you're getting, and I can only apologise if it's a little bit more nasal than you're used to. So I will obviously link Rachel's announcement video in the description, but I can give you a rough run through of what I'll be doing and the reasons why. So there are a few things, like each park has many different prompts you can do. So I'll only be sharing the ones that I'm actually doing. So if you want full details, you will have to go back to Rachel's video, or I'll basically be making another announcement video and it's not my readathon. So I'm just giving you the prompts that I will be doing. There are 4 different parks, and the park you start at changes the entry ticket prompt you have to do. So I'll be starting at Magic Kingdom, which means my entry prompt is read a fantasy or a magical realism book. So I'm going to be reading Fallen by Lauren Kate. This I must have read back in 2012, and I read the whole series and only held on to this first book, and I'm not quite sure why I did it. So I've kept it all this time and finally need to reread it to just know what it's about. Oh, I think I have literally just remembered what it's about. Either way, this is about Luce and Daniel. The moment Luce looks at Daniel, she knows she's never felt like this before, except she can't shake the feeling that she has, and with him, a boy she doesn't remember ever setting eyes on. PC Cast, who wrote the House of Night series, says it's sexy, fascinating, and scary. And yeah, I've owned this since 2012, it's now 2021, and I should probably reread it and see if I want to keep it forever. So my first prompt for Magic Kingdom, I have picked Space Mountain, which is to read a book that has space themes, meaning set in space, going to space, or a sci-fi. So I have picked Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is the first book on here that is completely outside my comfort zone. I could not tell you what it's about. I've heard that there's some sort of VR, like some element like that. It says, imagine the world at stake, an epic struggle between good and evil, the greatest quest in history, the fate of humanity resting in your hands. Are you ready? No. Am I ready to read it? Probably not, but if I don't pick it, it's gonna be on my TBR forever. And one of the things about the Magical Hop-a-thon is that you have to complete a park before moving on to the next park. So making this my first book after the entry ticket, I'm gonna have to read it. Next we have Dole Whip, read a booktube favourite, and this is a repeat from many TBRs. Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. So this is book number 4 in the Throne of Glass series. I loved books 1 and 2 and sadly did not really like book 3, so I am not sure how this is going to go. This book in particular was gifted to me by Rachel, just to let me know how much she loves and appreciates me, so I thought it would be very rude not to fit it in for Rachel's readathon. It is a chunky boy. It is about 650 pages, and I put it on every single TBR, never pick it up, so you know what? It's finally going to happen. Next, and the last one for Magic Kingdom, is Mickey's Friendship Fair. Read a book that centres around friendship. And I have stretched this one a little bit, but this book is all about high school friendships and relationships, and that is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. So I read this, it was the first or second book I read as coming on to BookTube. I read it in Contemporary-a-thon of 2018, so a very long time ago, and I listened to the audiobook, loved it, bought the physical book, and I don't remember it pretty much at all, and every time I look at it on my shelves I think about unhauling it. So what I'm going to do is read it again physically, see how I feel about it, and if I'm not a fan, just get rid. The next park I'm going to go to is Animal Kingdom, and my attraction prompt is Expedition Everest, read an intimidating book. This is definitely the most intimidating book on my TBR. It's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is an absolutely gorgeous copy, let's just let it focus, that was gifted to me by Shannon from 155 Books, so I'm so grateful, and I want to show that I'm grateful by finally reading it. I'm so scared to do this. I think what I'm going to do is listen to the audiobook and follow along physically. I think that's going to help me do a little bit more. But Halloween, spooky season, and it's a classic, so I'm definitely intimidated. Next, we have Mickey Pretzel, read a comfort book. So I am finally cracking on with Angel Fire by Al A. Weatherly. So this is on my 21 books I want to read in 2021. I'm leaving it till October. There are definitely still books on that list. And this is another chunker, but Angel was such a comfort read. So I read Angel for the first time when I was in my very early teens, I believe. And I bought the whole series and I literally never carried on. So I need to read this. I've had it for such a long time. So I'm putting it on my TBR so that it has to happen. And it's got to be an easy read. It has to be. Next, we have Nemo the Musical, read a book out of your comfort zone, which, as I've said, is all of these books. But the one book I have picked is The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. This is my book club pick for the month for Chloe's Crime Scene Corner. And the reason that I even made that book club in the first place is because I wanted to read true crime, but I found like the books were really outside of my comfort zone. So I thought it would work perfectly to fit this book on my TBR by saying it's out of my comfort zone, because it definitely is. I'll be organising a buddy read of this book over however many days, so I'll actually be reading it alongside these two, but within the time at the Animal Kingdom park. And yeah, this is all about H.H. Holmes, and that's all I really know. I will link my announcement video that includes this book for Chloe's Crime Scene Corner if you want to hear a little bit more about this specifically. Next, we're going across to EPCOT, and the first prompt I've gone for is Frozen, read a hyped book. And this is where I'm fitting in my buddy read with Emily at Novell Novels. We're going to be reading Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This has been so hyped, so hyped, and you know what, it could have also worked for my intimidating book. I am so scared to read this because it's very far out of my comfort zone, and I actually got it as a gift without it being on a wish list or anything, so I actually don't know if I'll enjoy this. It's completely outside of my comfort zone. It is YA fantasy. I think there's a magic element. It is based on King Arthur. Oh my god, and the character's last name is Matthews, which is my last name. That's bringing it into my comfort zone, but oh yeah, it's hyped book anyway, so it's definitely hyped. Next is, for the snack prompt, we have World Showcase, which is read a book set in one of the following countries, one of which is America. So I have gone for Thirst number 2 by Christopher Pike. I read number 1 not that long ago now, but this is a collection of 3 individual novellas, and they're very easy reads. So even though it is chunky, you can pretty much sit and read one novella in a sitting. They're very easy to get through. But this is about Alyssa, who is the last vampire on Earth. She is completely ancient, she's thousands of years old, and there's a lot of links to like religious backgrounds, which is so interesting, and I don't think I've ever seen in a vampire book before. These are quite old titles. So this actual book was published in 2010, but the individual novellas were written in 1996. So I know that's not old, but it is older than me. So I feel like it has a lot of appeal to be like a bit of a, I was just going to offend everyone with what I was going to say. It appeals to me because it's not that modern, I'll just say that. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this one and finally continue on with the Thirst series. And the last prompt for Epcot, I've gone for Turtle Talk with Crush, which is read a middle grade or listen to an audiobook. So I've gone for a middle grade, and I'm going to be rereading A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. And this is because November is going to be Believe-a-thon, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, hosted by Gavin. So I really want to reread this one so that I'm ready to read books 2 and 3, because I actually read this in like May of 2020, I've just checked, and I can't really remember anything. So I wanted to give it a reread, and I'm hoping a reread will be very quick and easy to do. So this is about Violet, who moves to Perfect, and everyone sees everything like it's amazing. So who wants to live in a town where everyone has to wear glasses to stop them going blind? And who wants to be neat and tidy and perfectly behaved all the time? Violet quickly discovers there's something weird going on in the town. She keeps hearing voices, her mum is acting strange, and her dad has disappeared. When she meets Boy, she realises that her dad is not the only person to have vanished, and that the mysterious Watchers are guarding a perfectly creepy secret. So yeah, I really want to reread this and then read the next two as part of Believeathon. And the final park is Hollywood Studios. So the attraction I've gone for is the Tower of Terror, and that is to read a plot-driven book. And I feel like we'll all agree Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant is very plot-driven. So I have actually read this one before, but I really loved it, and I'm dying to read it again. I also have Feed by Myra Grant. So Myra Grant is Shauna Maguire, if anyone doesn't know that, I wrote the Wayward Children series, but Myra Grant is the name she writes horror books under. This is about mermaids in the, what's the trench called? Mariana Trench. I am just so excited to reread it. I loved it. Again, it was one of my first booktube books. I read this in October of 2018, so I don't know how much I was really into reading and how good my judgments were, but I want to give it another read because I really did enjoy it, and I definitely think it's plot driven and it's creepy. So October. I've then gone for Num Num Cookie for snacks. So I have my buddy read with Leanne, which is Frozen Charlotte by Alex Ball. We said a very long time ago that we were going to buddy read this, and we agreed a long time ago that it was going to be October, so I definitely had to fit this one in. I did read an arc of this when it came out, obviously. It came out in 2014, and I was at a book club through my high school, and we got given arcs of it, and I think I skim read it. I don't think I even read it, and it really scared me. So I've got my hands on a final copy so I can finally sit and actually enjoy this and see if it creeps me out as an adult, because I'm a scaredy cat completely. And the final official prompt, you can go round again, but this is what I'm sticking to, is Indiana Jones, read a book you keep putting off. So I have gone for The Manifesto on How to Be Interesting by Holly Bourne. This was picked for me by my sister when I did my friends pick my TBR, and I didn't get around to it. I then haven't prioritised it on other TBRs, I just keep letting it slip, and that's because I have a real love-hate relationship with Holly Bourne. I don't think I've ever really loved one of her books, but I have outright hated one, I think, so I'm kind of putting it off, but I'm actually going to read it this time. Right, so that is everything for the magical Hop-a-thon, but I'm also going to be doing the Trick or Treat-a-thon, I can't even say it, which is hosted by a group of lovely people. I have their names written down. Connor, Leah, Louisa, Andrew, TB, Charlotte, Armin, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, Lisa and Therese. I do apologise if I've pronounced anyone incorrectly, I'm so sorry. I found this through Connor, so I will link his announcement video, but here there are prompts based on classic horror films, and each film has many prompts, so again, I'm just going to tell you what I have picked. But if you want every prompt, then definitely go and check out one of the host videos, because that will give you more. But this will probably give you more idea why I've picked some of the books for Rachel's readathon. The first one is Dracula, so I've gone for the prompt of read a book with LGBT plus representation. So that's where I'm reading Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I'm not going to talk more about them because I've already discussed them, but you know what I mean. Phantom of the Opera, read a book with a love triangle, and that is where I'm going for Angel Fire. I believe there's a love triangle. Creature from the Black Lagoon, read a book set around the sea. Definitely makes Into the Drowning Deep, makes sense. Frankenstein, I'm going to read Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein, read a book with an unhealthy relationship. Fallen. The Invisible Man, read a sci-fi book. Ready Player One. The Mummy, read a book that's 20 plus years old. First number 2. The Wolfman, read a book with a transformation, which I've kind of stretched, but I've gone for The Manifesto on How to Be Interesting because I'm assuming that our character Bree is going to transform and be interesting. really stretching that one. And the final one is the only other book I've introduced. So The Raven, Read a Book with a Black Cover. I have gone for If You Dare by A.R. Torr, which is another one that I keep putting off TBRs. I've got no reason to keep ignoring it, so now is finally the time. Sydney picked this for me and my friends picked my TBR, so it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. So there we have it. Those are all of my books I want to read this month. I should just quickly say that both readathons are running from the 1st to the 31st of October. And as I've said, the announcement videos for both will be linked in the description if you'd like to check those out for more details. So yeah, please do let me know down in the comments if you're taking part in either of these readathons, or whatever you're doing with your reading this month. Definitely let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But on that note, that's all I have time for today. So thank you very much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.